So today we're going to be unboxing the Retroid Pocket Mini. I haven't had a Retroid Pocket Go or Retroid Go Pocket, whatever. I haven't had a Retroid Pocket device on the channel since the 2, which probably unpopular. I did not like that handheld. I thought it was uncomfortable. In fact, I actually got rid of it after I made the video. I made the video and immediately sold it. Craigslist. So now Retroid Pocket has kind of learned from their mistakes in the past, and from what I hear, that this handheld and the Retroid Pocket 5, which is on order, we're still waiting for it to come in, but really stepped up the game and kind of almost changed the game for the handheld scene. So figure we'll go ahead and do an unboxing and check out what this has to offer. Let's go ahead and get started. Taking our handy dandy kniff, we're going to go ahead and get this open here and open this up. One thing that's nice to see is that I'm pretty sure my Retroid Pocket 2 came in this very same styled box. I might have changed slightly, but for the most part, I think it was pretty much exactly like this. It's a nice clean design. We have some video game references that looks like Navi, looks like a Sim Diamond, or just regular, video game icons in the background with a nice clean Retroid Pocket logo. We see here that this actually says Mini right up front, so I guess it's nice if you probably have multiple and they're stacked and you keep the boxes and they're stacked on top of each other. At least it'll say Mini, so you kind of know which box is which. And we have a Retroid Pocket sticker here, keeping it nice and sealed for us. So again, let's go ahead and grab that handy dandy kniff. Safety first, as always. And let's go ahead and just cut this open here. There we go. Nice and clean cut. And this little flap comes out. Now, and actually, before we do that, real quick, might as well take a look here. Take a little look-see-do. So the Retroid Pocket Mini comes in a variety of colors, such as 16-bit, which is like the Super Nintendo US version. Also comes in orange, Super Famicom, black, and then I got the Saturn one. You don't see Saturn represented that often, and I'm a big fan of my Sega Saturn. Dragon Force is one of my holy grails for that system, along with Guardian Heroes. I actually have all 4 of the Dragon Force disc art variants and cases and complete sets. So Saturn is a pretty neat system that I think just doesn't get that much love, and I really like seeing it represented, and that's actually what made me pick up this handheld to begin with. So flipping it back over here. Oh, look at that. Can I get a little logo out of that? Which I could. You got a little thumbnail right there. Boom. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom back out just a tad. Okay, opening this up. Nice clean design here. A little cutout styrofoam pad. He's so teeny. We're going to go ahead and set this aside for a moment. Take a look at all the little goodies we have underneath. So we have a Retroid Pocket Mini user manual. Gives us some specifications. Speaking of which, specifications for the device are right here. I'm actually going to lay those out on the screen later on, but I'm going to use this as a cheat sheet. So we have a user manual here with all of the item specifications, where everything's laid out at. Handy dandy. We also have a charge cable. This appears to be Type C. Yep, it is a Retroid Pocket branded Type C. If I can get that to focus. There you go. A little bit, kind of. Type C Retroid Pocket cable, but no power brick. So more and more devices just don't come with power bricks anymore. They figure, a lot of outlets have USB ports in them. You have a ton of power bricks laying around. Yeah, I always feel, I guess I'm a bit old school. I always like it when it comes with a power brick, just because then everything you need is right there in the box. Like if I was out and about and I got this on the go, if I'm on vacation or what have you, and a shop had a couple of these in stock, if I picked one up, I won't necessarily have an extra power brick on me. I could share, but it'd be nice if everything was just all in the box, ready to go. That's just me. I'm old school. I'm also not a big fan of DLC of games. I liked it when you bought the game, you got the game. So, moving on. Unveiling our little system here. Let's go ahead. I think it goes out this way. Yeah, look at that. That is clean. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of got like a glass finish up top. Very much reminds me of like a PlayStation Vita, just definitely more square. And I am surprised at how comfortable this feels in the hand. Ooh, I like those sticks. So we have that nice 4x3, or it appears to be 4x3. We have that nice square screen right there in the middle that looks nice and big. This glass texture is quite nice. Buttons are pretty tactile and clicky. Those sticks are smooth. Oh, so smooth. And they click in. Looks like we have a home button, a back button, then we have our select and start. On top, we have an accent L1, L2, R1, R2. along with a power button and looks like a volume rocker. Looks like we also up top have our exhaust vent. On the bottom of the device, it looks like we have a micro SD card slot, which does not have a micro SD card in it. I gotta say that's kind of actually refreshing. A lot of these type of handhelds always say can't include games because they're not supposed to, but they always do. This one actually doesn't. You're gonna have to supply your own ROMs when you buy Retroid Pocket. That's a responsible seller. A lot of people are going to complain about that because it's not ease and user friendly, but that's responsible. So I respect that decision. We also have our headphone jack and our Type-C charge port. On the back of the device, it looks like we have our air intake, and then this is kind of etched in, just says Retroid Pocket. Overall, this is a very clean, pristine handheld. I'm actually quite excited about this. I can definitely see this being my daily rider, where I just throw this in a work bag and we're good to go. I might want a screen protector. This whole front feels like it's either shiny plastic or it is like a glass-like cover here. So I am worried about that getting scratched up with use, but it's a handheld. It's meant to be played. I'm going to play with it. What's also nice is at the back, these ergonomic grips. This is just, very sleek and smooth. I wish it did have some texture quality here, just to kind of give you a little bit more grip sense. But in the hand, I don't think that's going anywhere. That's comfy. Even one-handed, that's very, very comfortable. Getting out our scale here, the handheld comes in just at 7.9 ounces. So 7.9 ounces or 222 grams. Yeah, 7.9 ounces. It is quite comfortable. I could definitely see long gaming sessions with this handheld. With that square screen here, that 4:3 aspect ratio, games are just going to look great on there. You might look a little weird when it comes to Game Boy Advance, maybe, it's not going to be an exact one-to-one image upscaling, but I think the majority of the games that you're going to be playing on here are going to look very nice. And let's talk specs. So this is the Retroid Pocket Mini with the CPU 2.8 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz, and 1.8 gigahertz. The GPU is an Adreno 650. RAM is 6 gigabytes of LPDDR4 at 2133 megahertz. The storage is 128 gigabytes with a micro SD card slot, which we just viewed a second ago. Also, operating system is Android 10. It's a 3.7 inch OLED screen. So a 3.7 OLED screen. This screen is going to look phenomenal playing games. My Steam Deck that we just did an unboxing a little bit ago, you can give that a watch, is also OLED, and I have a tough time putting that handheld down. It has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. Overall, this little handheld packs a pretty big punch, and I've always wanted handhelds to get to the point where we could do GameCube and do PlayStation 2 in a small form hand factor, and I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised with the Retroid Pocket Mini. So with that all the way, let's go ahead and let's get things set up. Let's do some gameplay testing and some performance testing and see kind of how it performs. All right, so for the first time boot up, I'm just going to go ahead and hold this power button up top. We have a nice Retroid Pocket logo here. I think I'm going to turn off one of the overhead lights, really allow that screen to shine through. So we're going to use R1 to cycle through English, connect to the internet. Oh, that was to skip. No, don't skip. Go ahead and connect, use Wi-Fi, go ahead and type in our password. So one thing when I was typing that in, there's actually rumble haptic feedback right back here, which felt really strong actually. I imagine playing like a shooter and having that rumble feature go is going to be pretty rad. Go ahead and select our time zone. We're not in New York. Okay, so this is nice. We can pre-install certain things if we want Citra, which is the 3DS emulator, which I think has actually been shut down. So I am going to check this off and see if we can get Citra on here. The Dolphin emulator, Duck Station, go and do Moonlight. So it's going to start installing those. So here we can select a launcher even. The default is the Retroid Pocket Mini launcher, which kind of looks like an emulation station-esque type deal. Or we can go down to the Android S launcher, which basically just makes this like an Android phone. I am going to go ahead and go with the Retroid Pocket Mini launcher. Just So that way the front end's kind of already built in. Congratulations, configuration is complete. Let's go ahead and push start. So here we are. And since the Retroid Pockets don't ship with any emulators or games, we're gonna have to get all that set up. We're just kind of met with this blank screen here. We can go up here to the top and customize our profile, which is pretty cool. And we can set a nickname, change it to the dark theme. That's way easier on the eyes, especially if you're playing at night, which is mainly when I have time. And auto download thumbnails is already on by default. So that's handy. We could change our picture, nickname, and all that type of stuff. So as far as emulation goes, we're going to go ahead. If we click on add app, we see here, we can like adds RetroArch down there. Oops, we could highlight that, get some box art. There we go. So push start to launch the games, or to launch the apps, the applications. To get just to emulation, once we get that all set up, we could just click this emulation button down at the bottom and all of our games will be here. So I'm going to go ahead and get a micro SD card set up, get some games on here, and then we'll do a little gameplay testing. And yeah, later on we'll do a video just showcasing kind of more performance. So stay tuned real quick. So I just put in a 64 gigabyte micro SD card. And if we're here on the launcher, and let's go down to emulation and then go down to setup here, we see here it says create ROM folders, and we want to make that directory on the SD card storage. So that should have worked now. We can go ahead and pop out a micro SD card and get our ROMs over to the appropriate folders. Okay, so here we have, this is our micro SD card. And we see here that it kind of prepped kind of the standard Android file systems here. So like movies, music, pictures, yada, yada, yada. But it also made Retroid Pocket games. So if we click on that, then we have 3 folders of BIOS, ports, and ROMs. So if we click on this, it has all the ROM folders. BIOS, we want to transfer BIOS for like PlayStation here, Game Boy Advance, stuff like that. So over here, I have my desktop. I have some BIOS folders. I am going to go ahead and move some of these files over, such as Dreamcast and PlayStation over. Copy there. Now if we open up the ROMs folder, we see it is slightly different name-wise, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and just copy some of my favorite ROMs over. Start with Game Boy. And just easy as drag and drop, and you're all set. I'm going to go ahead and get this finished up, and then we'll get to doing some gameplay. All right. Now that we got that back installed, we got our game files transferred over. Back on the system here, we're going to go to setup, go and click on all, and it will populate for the systems that we have files in. Just kidding, it populated for all of them. Seeing how this is the Saturn Mini, figure we should start with a Saturn game. I gotta say, those 2 front-facing speakers are perfectly loud. I've beaten this game so many times from start to finish, and I still just love it. There's a lot of reading in this game, but I mean, if you're a fan of kingdoms and politics and a mad king, I mean, this is basically Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. This is also ahead of its time where you would have 100 sprites fight 100 sprites. Random encounter. Oh, that's gonna hurt. So we might have to work on the mapping of the controls, but otherwise, I mean, that played flawlessly. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. Also, huge news on the modbroadcast.tv. We are actually going to be partnering with some artists where we're going to have some exclusive merch. We're basically, we're going to have up to 4 designs from artists that are interested in doing a collab, and for 3 months we're going to feature different artists on modernbroadcast.tv. At the end, on the last month, we'll do a poll, and one of their designs will stay remaining on the modernbroadcast.tv website for sale while the others disappear. So we're going to have some limited merch, guys. This is pretty exciting. Be sure to stay tuned. We're going to start this January of 2025. Happy holidays to you and yours, and as always, take care.